Good morning. Hi, I'm Mo, and welcome to your morning flow for our legs, for stability, and for really protecting our knees and our joints. As a skier, these are things that I like to incorporate into my practice to translate onto the hill. So a little ski practice, if you will, as I say in air quotes. Just something a little fun. And here we go. Got my little timer here. It's going to be a 10-15 minute practice. And we're going to flow standing through various poses. What you will need is maybe some blocks, yoga blocks that you have. If you don't have yoga blocks and you happen to have a balancing pad, maybe a gardening knee pad that you have, that's also cool. Failing that, you can grab like a really cool, fun cushion from the pillow, a pillow that you sit on for meditation, some really cool things. Or that matter, I'm gonna be right back and I'll go to the couch. And maybe you grab a pillow from the couch. Who knows? These are some of the things that you will need to have. So grab your props and we'll meet you on your mat. And we're just gonna kind of get settled here. And just kind of standing here. Oh, shake your arms out. Little willy-nillies. Ooh, willy-nillies. Shaking the legs, shaking the arms. Just like getting all those little bursts of energy through the body. Wiggle the arms out in front, off to the side, down to your legs, maybe even up and around. Oh, yeah. And then stop. Pretty cool when we shift our energy. And then now, just coming into your breath. But if it feels comfortable, close your eyes. And just tuning in to where you are. And just have an awareness and a noticing. If you're leaning far forward, more into your toes. And then maybe notice if you're leaning really far back, way past the comfort zone onto your heels. And what if you lean all the way to the right? And lean all the way to the left. I'm just going to turn around here, give you a side view, and play with that. Feet are about pelvis width apart. Really nice and comfortable, like your Goldilocks spot. And then lean forward, as far forward as you can without falling, like, whoa. It's almost like a launch ramp. You're like, what? And then you're going to come back to center and go lean all the way back. It's like your toes are coming up and you're like too far back. And you're like, no, thank you. And then just again to the right, again to the left. And then coming back to center. And do that a couple more times where you rock forward and back. And then from that too far forward spot and that too far back spot, come to the just right for you. And if your eyes are closed, maybe open them up and take a little peek. Oh, pretty cool. So pelvis should be stacked over the ankles towards the heels. And the cool thing about this, it invites a neutral, I like-ish pelvis. And that neutral-ish pelvis for me supports my low back, supports my core, for it to support me. A couple more breaths here. One more. I'm just going to face forward towards you. So from that space, neutral-ish pelvis, where your hips are stacked over your ankles towards your heels. just start to invite the shift over to the right. I'm going to go over to the right. And notice if you have the Leaning Tower of Pisa happening, and consider bringing your right hand to the outside of your right hip and then drawing that right hip in away from the hand. You start to feel the big toe mound, the metatarsal, the met head, press into the floor and press the heel into the floor. So the sole of your foot pressing down. And then come back out. Left foot. I like to spread my toes wide, give them nice little piggies space. Start to shift over to the left foot. And notice if there's like a Leaning Tower of Pisa here, you're kind of like, oh, bring the left hand to the outside of the left hip, and then draw the left hip in towards your midline, away from the left hand. And that little shift, that little drawing in, creates a stronger support. Come back down. I'll do that one more time. On to the right. And you can just float your left foot, whether onto the big toe, drawing right hip into center, pressing through the sole of the foot, inviting the length up from the heel all the way through the body. Come on down. Shift back to the left. Draw in the left hip, pulling in, hugging in. Who doesn't love hugs? Hug in. Come on down. And it's all little micro movements. It's nothing huge. And it's that feeling of hugging into the midline. And then maybe the left foot floats a little higher. And as you press down and you hug in, maybe you create a little bit more stability. Slowly release. And then you're going to go again to the left side. Pressing down, hugging into midline. Maybe the right foot floats a little bit more. Pretty cool. Now we're going to invite a little bit of unstableness. Is that a word? Welcome to Mo. You'll hear Moisms. So this is my Moism for you. Unstableness. So grab your block. Maybe it's a folded up towel, a folded up blanket, or a cushion. And I'm going to take my block. I'm going to rest it on the floor. And I'm going to invite my right foot to stand on it. Now, I have a very long foot, so I make sure that the heel is onto the floor, that would be the block. And then my toes are kind of dangling over the front of it, but I'm feeling the most of the sole of my foot pressing down. And then slowly come up onto the right foot. Left toes slightly pressing down, inviting that hugging in from the right hip, draw into center, press through the sole of the foot. And as you press down, maybe you feel a little lift of the left toe off the mat. And you may notice a little weeble or wobble. Play in the weeble wobble. Have some fun. And really press down to the sole of the foot. Press in towards midline. Slowly come out. You're going to switch. Right foot comes onto the mat. Left foot comes onto the block. Pressing down. You're going to press down into the floor, come up. And then invite that hugging in. Outer hip, left hip towards midline to center. And as you press the sole of the foot down, feel the length and strength transfer up from the foot through the leg. Ooh, one side may be easier than others. And your hands can be wherever they are. Nifty and fun. It's always cool to invite like a little bit of wonkiness, unstableness. Another Moism for you. And then slowly come on out. And if you want to kind of test it out and maybe say, okay, well, I don't have a block and you want to see what it feels like on a cushion, give yourself a little try. Press down, hug in. Ooh, lift. This one's a little weirder for me. Still that action of hugging in. And I just noticed as I was weeble wobbling, like my ribs started to press out. Oh, so I'm going to invite, if that's happened to you, invite the ribs to kind of hug in and hug in, woo, to your center as well. And that little hugging in, that drawing in, invites a little bit more stability. I'm stacked over my hips. Well, isn't that pretty cool? I'm out. And invite the left. And it's not so much about being stiff and strong and not moving, more as press down, hug in, create the connection from within. And in the unstableness, in the weebles of the wobbles, we are still safe. Come on out. Okay. So another great one that I find definitely working for my knees, having had injury, really focusing on the strength around my knees to translate when I'm out on the hill, to translate when I'm walking outside, hiking, to really, as I stand here and I just, start to float onto one foot without even thinking, just kind of standing, floating. And I come back down. Inviting that little weeble wobbles. So fun one that was shared with me and through my physio, Julie. She calls these 747s, and they're super fun and super cool. So I'm going to turn around and I'm going to press into my right foot, very similar like we did. Spread the toes wide, feel the sole of your foot pressing down, hips stacked over ankle towards the heels, and invite your left foot to float up. And just bringing the left thigh up towards the ceiling to a space that's comfortable for you. It doesn't have to be super high. And then from this lifted space, as you're still pressing down and hugging in that outer hip on the standing leg, start to extend the left leg. And then from this extension point, you're going to bend the knee, draw the foot back, and take airplane. And hands can be beside you if you like airplane hands. And then you're going to come back to center and extend the leg forward. And then you're going to come back, switch between center, going into airplane. So whether it's in yoga, standing leg raise, pass through center to airplane, or funnily named 747 from Julie, take your plane and go for fly. And notice your standing leg, what is happening between all those little muscles and tendons and all those amazing things that keep us here, as well as keep us strong and mobile. And then come on down. So we're going to switch. Press into the standing leg on the left foot. Float the right foot off the mat, drawing the left hip in, hugging into midline, that hugging in, that pressing down, and then slowly draw the right leg up. Knee is bent. And then extend the right knee out. And then slowly come back, pass through center, take airplane, and notice that it's not a super high airplane. There's no crimping, there's no pinching in your low back. It's nice and gentle. You're adding strength with ease as you flow through. And your eye gaze can be extended slightly forward. Considering our eyes are like another balancing mechanism, whether on our bicycles or motorcycles, whether we're walking. Often you'll hear, even in skiing, look where you want to go, not where you are. So by drawing that vision a little further forward, you invite a little bit more stability and balance. And what is balance really? Balance is a bunch of unbalance put together. So let's get unbalanced to get balanced. And you're just going back and forth between the 747s, AKA standing leg raise to airplane, and maybe weeble wobble some more. And then you slowly come out. And then just a couple more here, just keeping, mindful of our time. Take a stand, feet hip width apart. And again, invite that little movement here that maybe there's a forward and a backward. Maybe there's a side to side. And then just come into your natural space here. And this can translate into our skiing. I'm going to turn to the side. Feet our pelvis width apart in our skis. Ski boots in our bindings in our skis. And oftentimes we're, say, get the weight forward. And then you find people leaning, leaning, leaning. And if you're too far back, you're like, whoa, all the way back here. So from here, I'm going to invite us to just gently bend the knees. And invite the knees to stack over the ankles towards the heels. And it might feel a little too much. And then from this, if you go too far forward, what happens? Jamming into the front of the boot, jamming into your toes. And if you go too far back, now you're into the back of the boot, into the heels, the toes are lifting, and maybe there's too much stretch and strain in the quads. So find your center. Weeble wobble forward and back. And then land in your comfort, your Goldilocks. And then from here, toes are light, lifted off the mat. Slowly invite a little bit, drawing the hips towards the heels a little bit more. And then slowly come up. I'm going to face you in front. And one of the best exercises, as my coach has said for me, come into your little squat, mini chair pose. Press into the soles of the feet, draw the hips towards the heels, stacking pelvis over ankles. And actually, pelvis is a little further back. But maybe finding that space wherever it works for you. Legs, femurs, they're hugging in, they're not bunching in, still space, air between the thighs. And then slowly start to shift onto the one foot. And notice if your hip does a bit of a hip check. Draw that standing hip in and down. And then come back down to left foot. Press into the left foot. Float the right leg up and notice if there's a hip check on the left. Draw that left hip in. Maybe the right toe goes down. And invite that little single leg squat. Super amazing, translates onto our ski hill. Slowly come back. And we'll do that again. Invite the squat, arms towards the front. Press into the sole of the right foot. And as you press down, hug the femur, the thigh bone in towards the hip, and inviting the outer hip on the standing leg to hug in. Glutes engaged. Need those for skiing. Come back down. Shift on to the left. And then come back up. Oh, I'm starting to sweat. Yay. Okay. And then shake the arms out. Little shaky, shaky up and down. Oh. Maybe shake the one leg out. Shake the other leg out. And a little twisty, a little dance side to side. And I went a little bit longer, so thank you for your patience. Thank you for joining here with me today and joining in with my little Moisms. And enjoy these little practices through your life, onto the ski hill, and maybe into the hiking space. Thanks for joining. See Mo go. Bye-bye.